Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? You fine, fabulous book people. We are here for Beard Book Talk, episode 10. Kind of my wrap up, kind of what I read, what I got, what I'm going to read, that sort of thing. Yeah, and it is October 28th, almost Halloween. We are on our way into November and the season of the sticks, I guess, as they say. Beautiful here. Leaves are beautiful. We really haven't had any bad storms or anything since the hurricane Helene came through, and normally what'll happen here is the leaves will turn and we'll get a bad storm and they'll be gone. And then again, like I said, the season of the sticks where everything is very I don't know, I don't want to call it depressing, but just bare trees and whatnot for like 3 months. So anyway, but we haven't had any storms and the leaves hadn't turned enough for the hurricane to blow them all away, and so it's been very, very beautiful out here. So yeah. So this is I'm gonna talk about the stuff that I have read now. Quickly, I am trying to work on some shorts on shorts, some king shorts and some shorts on shorts on You Like It Darker. So keep an eye out for those. I think I've got a couple out, but I'm gonna try to go through this entire book and talk. Actually, I've got four of them out, I think. I'm gonna try to go through this entire book and talk about the stories in this book. And same thing with Ray Bradbury's October Country. This one's gonna be hard because a lot of short pieces that, to be honest with you, I kind of zipped through, and some of them I've already opened it up and I've looked at the title and I've been like, oh shit, what was that one about? But I didn't mark anything, so that's on me. But working on some short videos for these two books, and then we'll come back and throw a full review on them. Hopefully, now stuff that I read this week. I finished Fever House by Keith Rawson. Like this book quite a bit. I'm gonna have to think about it. Gonna have to review it. Probably have a review coming for this one this week. And then I read The Plastic Priest by Nicole Cushing. Um, and going to talk about this one probably later in the week as well. It's very short novella, a little bit over 100 pages. And yeah, so read those two this week, and I am working on Wolves of Kala. Wolves of Kala. They pronounce it Kala. I've always said Kala, but I've never actually, read this one before. Again, briefly, I'm trying to get through. I'm about halfway. I'm trying to get through the Dark Tower series. I've done the first three books three times, and the fourth book twice, and I'm trying to roll that into actually finishing this thing and doing the Wolves of Kala and the Song of Susanna and the Dark Tower, and then circling back and I think doing the Wind Through the Keyhole. So those are my audio plans. I think for the next few months is to get finally through the Dark Tower. I have to have a hard copy with me. I always kind of if something grabs me in the audio, I'll flip to it and read it. I always try to somewhat keep up with the bookmark as to where I actually am in the audio. So, working on Wolves of Kala. And I am reading Looking Glass Sound. I can see it over there. Hold on, I'll grab it. Wait a second. There you go. I've got the dust jacket there. But Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. I am really enjoying this book, and I am about 110 or so pages into it. So, when I finish this one, I expect to finish this one this week. I'm going to go right back to Keith Rawson. And because I'm so far behind on like talking about short stories, I don't want to start another short story book. So, I'm going to go into The Devil by Name. It is the sequel to Fever House. So, that is the stuff that I am reading and stuff I've read, I guess. Did not get a ton of books this week, but I did go to a couple places this weekend. Hold on. So I went to Barnes and Noble, and as I've said, I fell in love with these editions. This is the Frankenstein that I just read last month. There's a review for this up. But I wanted more, and really, I didn't want like stuff that I hadn't already read or stuff that I wouldn't read. I kind of wanted like horror adjacent titles. So had a wedding anniversary, 23 years, happy anniversary, Bree. And she got me Dracula. This is gorgeous. I mean, again, this is $15. Uh, but it's either leather or faux leather. It's soft, black pages. I mean, look at the end pages in these things. And I'm just in love with these editions. So she had four of them in her hand. She had this one and three others. I told her, so just get two, put the other ones back, and save them for Christmas or something. But Dracula by Bram Stoker, beautiful. I mean, for $15, just um, a lot of a lot of I don't know, bang for the buck in my opinion. A lot of sparkle for the buck. I mean, they look great on a shelf. They're I mean they're enjoyable additions to read. I mean, like I said, the pages are thick, so you feel like you're getting somewhere when you're flipping them. Anyway, also I got the picture of Dorian Gray. Um, Also very pretty. This one's got green edges, pretty end papers. So yeah, I'm in love with these editions. I've read both of these books. I have liked both of these books. This one here, one of my all-time favorite classics. The reason I say that is because I mean probably, oh my goodness, my daughter was really young, and my daughter turns 20 this year. So um, probably 18, 19 years ago, I was trying to read through the BBC's top 100 books. Again, some of those were massive efforts like War and Peace, and some of them were Roald Dahl. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So you had a big mix of hard books and easy books, I guess, and they were all fiction. So it wasn't like it was. It was so it must have been the BBC's top 100 fiction. But read a lot of books in there that I didn't necessarily understand or care for. I made it all the way through War and Peace, but also some books that I loved, like this one and Watership Down and Captain Corelli's Mandolin was probably one of my favorite love stories that I've ever read. Anyway, but yeah, so I got these two. Don't know. I might reread them. I might just put them on the shelf. I don't often do that. Like I don't often buy. Well, I used to. I'm not trying to buy a bunch of books just to that I'm not gonna read. But these are just beautiful, and they're $15 a piece. And right now, I'm kind of hooked. The other ones that they had that probably be on the Christmas list is they had an Edgar Allan Poe one. They had something else. I can't remember what it was. Oh, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But I really wanted a Fahrenheit 451, but they did not seem to have that. They had a bunch of other ones that are, more along the lines of classics and not horror adjacent classics, whatever. But really, really like these. So, um, and so we were at Barnes and Noble. I went to Starbucks. They had a $5 book, one that I didn't buy last time I was there. I kind of assumed it'd be the same one because it's only been a couple weeks or a week or whatever. But I got the Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. This was the $5 book at the Starbucks. I've owned this book before. I've contemplated reading this book before, probably back along the lines that it actually came out. But I have not read it, and I no longer own it. That's kind of what I do. I get into this, doing what I'm doing right now. I buy a bunch of books. I fall out of it. I dump a bunch of books, and so anyway, so it was $5. I picked this one up, and that's the only thing that I bought at Barnes and Noble. I went to a half price books, and it was pretty. They didn't really have a lot there. Nothing. Again, I go into half price books, and I go to the collectible section just to see if there's any like Stephen King hardcover, for an affordable price that I can't leave behind, or the types of things that I would buy there would be like book club editions of like Ira Levin back when I was doing that, or Richard Matheson. I bought a Richard Matheson I Am Legend hardcover out of that section. I don't often dump a bunch of money on books. I'm usually a cheapskate when it comes to it. But anyway, they had nothing in the collectible, nothing in the horror paperback, nothing in the horror hardcover. Boom, boom, boom. 3 sections. And I went back to the markdown section, and I found a couple of Colson Whiteheads who I have not read, but I've always kind of wanted to read. I remember I mean I've had copies of Nickel Boys and what's the other one? Not the Underground Railroad, and then I think this is like his latest one, or it was his latest one. Anyway, but these are $3 a piece, so I bought Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead, and this was really the only book. But then they had like a rack, right? Like they got the markdown section, but then they had a rack of like um, books that were going to be added to that section, but they hadn't been. And I kind of perused those real quick, and I got Zone 1 by Colson Whitehead. This one I think came out roughly 2014, and it's a horror book, or it's supposed to be. Colson Whitehead. I'm getting a glare. Look at that. Colson Whitehead's what do you call it? Shot at a horror book. It's supposed to be kind of post-apocalyptic. A pandemic's hit. Our main character is part of like a cleanup crew to deal with the remaining sick that are out there in the city, or something along those lines. I read the first 4 or 5 pages sitting outside of half price books, but I haven't gone any further. So anyway, I bought those 2 books for $3 a piece. So got some shorts on shorts coming on Bradbury and King. Um, gonna have a review of Fever House and the Plastic Priest by Nicole Cushing this week. Wolves of Kala. I've got copies of, and again, I've owned copies of these before, but then dumped them. So I've got copies of Song of Susanna and The Dark Tower and Went Through the Keyhole on the way to me. So really trying to press on and find my way to the end of this Dark Tower path. And that's really it. Really loving the Catriona Award. That's my third Catriona Award read, having done House on Needless Street, which I liked, but there's some buts involved in that one. And then Sundial, which I really, really liked. And I'm super enjoying Looking Glass Sound right now. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's all I got, and that's what I'm working on. So I appreciate you being here. Um, Try to have a little bit of content for you this week. We'll see how things go. We are coming to the end of football season, where I am a coach, and we're going to be going into basketball season again for my 16-year-old. But I don't coach, so like basketball season is I get more time to kind of do things like this, I guess. So, yeah, that's it. This is Well Red Beard. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you are reading the wrong damn books.